Welcome to today's episode on why time feels faster now than it did in childhood. If you enjoy slow, quiet explorations like this, you can gently like the video or subscribe to the channel. It helps these calm conversations reach the people who need them. If a personal moment comes to mind while listening, you're welcome to share it in the comments. Now, you can settle into a comfortable position, dim the lights if you like, and allow the day to slowly fall away as we begin. Time didn't always feel like this. There was a time when a single afternoon felt endless, when waiting for something could stretch across what felt like forever. Birthdays seemed impossibly far away, and a year felt like a lifetime back then. And now, without any clear moment when it changed, time feels different. Weeks pass quietly, months slide by without resistance, and entire years seem to fold in on themselves, almost unnoticed. You look back and wonder how so much time could move so quickly without ever asking. This isn't just nostalgia, and it isn't imagination. It isn't because life suddenly became busier, or because you stopped paying attention on purpose. There are real reasons why time feels like it speeds up after childhood, and they are subtle. They work quietly, beneath awareness, and they have far more to do with how the mind experiences the world than with clocks or calendars. Tonight, we're going to explore those reasons slowly, not to fix time, and not to slow it down, but simply to understand it. Because understanding something often softens the way it feels. When you were a child, time was new, not metaphorically new, but genuinely new. Every experience carried information your brain had never processed before. New sounds, new rules, new social cues, new emotions, new environments. Your brain had no shortcuts then, so it paid attention to everything. A walk to school wasn't just a walk. It was a sequence of details: the cracks in the pavement, the way the air felt, the sound of distant voices, the feeling of anticipation or boredom or quiet curiosity. When the brain records more detail, time feels longer, not because more time has passed, but because more memory has been created. This is one of the first quiet shifts that happens as we grow older. We stop recording life in high detail, not because we choose to, but because the brain learns what it can safely ignore. The human brain is efficient by design. It is constantly asking one simple question: have I seen this before? If the answer is yes, the brain relaxes. When something is familiar, the mind compresses it. It stores less detail, spends less energy, and moves on quickly. This is helpful for survival, but it has a side effect. Familiarity shortens time. When days begin to look like other days, the brain treats them as repeats, and repeats don't receive full attention. Think about how a child experiences a single school day. Everything matters: who sits where, what the teacher says, what happens at lunch, how the day ends. Now think about an adult weekday. Many of them blur together, not because nothing happened, but because the brain decided it didn't need to remember most of it. Time doesn't feel fast while it's happening. It feels fast when you look back, and memory is the lens that creates that feeling. This is why vacations feel strange. While you're living them, they feel long, full, and dense. But when you look back, they feel short, because even novelty becomes compressed once it turns into memory. Time is not measured in minutes. It is measured in moments that stand out. Childhood is full of those moments. Adulthood slowly becomes optimized for fewer of them. Not worse, just quieter. Another reason time speeds up is proportion. When you are 5 years old, 1 year is 20% of your entire life. and that year holds enormous weight. When you are 30, 1 year is a much smaller fraction of your lived experience. It doesn't feel as large, and it doesn't stand out as much. The mind compares new time to accumulated time, and as the reference point grows, individual segments feel smaller. This happens without awareness. You don't wake up one day feeling older and suddenly notice time speeding up. It happens gradually, silently. 1 year feels normal, then another, until suddenly a decade feels like it passed between two thoughts. But proportion alone doesn't explain everything. There is something else happening beneath it. As children, we live mostly in the present, not because we are wise, but because we don't yet have the cognitive load to live elsewhere. Children don't spend much time thinking about 10 years ago or 10 years from now. They experience now. Adults carry timelines, regrets, plans, expectations, comparisons. The present becomes thinner when attention is split. When the mind is constantly moving backward or forward, the current moment loses depth. Less depth means less memory, and less memory makes time feel faster. Think about how often you are fully inside what you are doing, not multitasking, not planning, not replaying conversations, just inside the moment. Those moments still feel slow. They still stretch, but they are rarer now, not because they disappeared, but because attention is expensive and adulthood teaches us to spend it carefully. Routine also plays a role. Routine is efficient. It reduces decision-making and stabilizes life, but routine compresses time. When events repeat in predictable ways, the brain groups them together. 5 similar days become one memory. 10 similar weeks become a blur. This doesn't mean routine is bad. It means routine trades richness for stability. Childhood has less routine, and even structured environments feel new because the internal experience is constantly changing. Adulthood stabilizes external life, and internal novelty drops. Time doesn't slow or speed on the clock. It stretches or shrinks in the mind. There is another quiet shift that happens as we grow older. We become more goal-oriented. Childhood is process-driven. Adults become outcome-driven. When the mind focuses on what comes next, it rushes through what is now, not intentionally, but automatically. If you're always waiting for something else, the present becomes a hallway instead of a room. Hallways are passed through. Rooms are experienced. Childhood has more rooms. Emotion also shapes time. Strong emotions slow it down. Fear, joy, curiosity, awe. Children experience these often and openly. Adults regulate emotion more. Again, not worse, just quieter. Less emotional contrast means fewer time markers. Days become smoother, and smoother surfaces are easier to slide across. At night, this becomes more noticeable. When the world slows down, the mind catches up. You notice how quickly time has been moving. You remember moments you didn't fully register when they happened. Night reveals what speed hides. That's why time feels heavier at night, not longer, just more visible. There is a common misunderstanding that time speeds up because life gets busier. Busyness contributes, but it isn't the core reason. The deeper reason is familiarity combined with divided attention. Even a quiet adult life can feel fast. Even a busy childhood can feel slow. What matters is how much the mind is present and how much detail it records. Memory is not a recording device. It's a storyteller. It edits, compresses, highlights, and removes. The story it tells determines how time feels. Childhood stories are long chapters. Adulthood stories become summaries, not because life became smaller, but because the mind learned efficiency. This raises a gentle question. Can time slow down again, not on the clock, but in experience? The answer isn't dramatic. It doesn't require quitting everything or chasing novelty endlessly. It involves attention, small shifts, noticing moments again, letting days have texture, doing familiar things slightly differently, allowing curiosity back into ordinary moments. The brain responds to novelty, but novelty doesn't have to be extreme. A new way of seeing is often enough. Sometimes, simply understanding why time feels fast is enough to soften the anxiety around it. You realize you didn't waste time. You didn't lose it. Your mind just learned how to move efficiently through it, and efficiency has a cost. There is a quiet comfort in knowing that time isn't betraying you. It isn't accelerating out of control. Your perception is changing as you change, and that's all. If this exploration helped you feel a little more at ease, you can gently like the video or subscribe to the channel. And as you lie here now, time doesn't need to move quickly or slowly. It can simply pass. You don't have to measure it or catch it or hold it. Just let it move the way it always has, one moment at a time.